Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Coming off a great weekend of sports, whether you're a golf fan watching the Masters, an NBA fan watching the first round of the playoffs, or just a baseball fan watching the Brewers take 2 out of 3 against the Los Angeles Dodgers. It was a great weekend to be a fan of sports. So I just want to give some quick thoughts on game one of the Milwaukee's matchup with the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, things went really, really well for the Bucks in game one. If you're new to the station, though, again, my name is Ryan Kostrowski. This is Wisconsin Sports Talk. We're here to talk Bucks, Brewers, and Packers. We'll do a little bit of everything. Obviously, football is a year-round sport, so we'll dive into the Packers here and there. But we are right in the middle of the start of Brewers and baseball season, and Milwaukee got their first playoff win of the year underway. If you want more discussion talk, guys, just subscribe to the channel. It's a little bit new. Just started this one a few weeks ago, but we'll continue to push out the content. And, of course, anybody who's willing to give the thumbs up, it is sincerely appreciated. So I guess this is a question you have to ask yourself. And whether you're a Bucks fan, Pistons fan, or just a fan of the NBA in general, do the Pistons have a shot? Their chances were slim to none to start. And let me tell you this much. Slim just packed up and rode out of town. Blake Griffin is now projected to miss the entire series, which essentially means he won't even jump into the playoff race at all this year. Because without Blake, they went from small shot to no shot. There was already a bad matchup for the Detroit Pistons to go up against Milwaukee. But you take away their best player, and you saw it yesterday with the Bucks and the way that they play defense. The Pistons just have no way to score the basketball. The only bright spot for Detroit yesterday was Luke Kennard, and I want to give the young man some credit for playing a really good game, but they just don't have enough firepower to keep up with Giannis and Middleton and Bledsoe and Brook Lopez and Sterling Brown and Niko Mirotic when he gets going. So let's call it like it is, guys. I don't want to overreact and pretend like this is some sort of big win for Milwaukee. They got the worst team in the playoffs who is now missing their best player. So let's just cool our jets a little bit. I love the way that they played game one, and it was really good to not see them play down to the level of their opponent. And most of you guys can probably think of some of these Mike McCarthy-led Packer teams, the few times they've actually assembled a good team around Aaron. And there was just too many games where we didn't go out and just grab the bull by the horns and just win an easy game by a lot, and they would play down to the level of their competition. We didn't do that yesterday, and I'm really proud of this team for how they came out. They punched Detroit in the mouth in the first minute, and they never looked back. It was a 30-point game at halftime. If Milwaukee had so desired, they probably could have won this game by 50. You saw Andre Drummond. He was just frustrated, and it's got to be frustrating as being the best player on a team that's just not very good, trying to keep up with a team like this. A cheap foul, flagrant 2, got ejected. He deserved to be ejected. I'm glad they kicked him out, because the last thing we want to do is see a chippy Pistons team pissed off about the fact that they can't hang with this team and take cheap shots on our superstar, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Love the takeoff from the free throw line yesterday. That was exciting to see him take off from there. Well, 1 foot inside the free throw line and dunk like that. I would caution him, man, though, if this team is going to cheap shot you, please don't be doing that, because that's really easy to undercut you on something like that. Please take one more step in. As fun as it is to watch, we need you healthy, because this is all lining up in favor of Milwaukee right now. Let's just be happy. We got a really lucky draw. You saw the Raptors lose to the Magic in the first game. And while I think we expect the Raptors to come back to win this series, the Magic are a much better team than Detroit. And now you take Blake Griffin away. Let's just chalk it up for what it is. We got a really lucky draw. Let's be happy about it. This is essentially a bye in the first round of the playoffs. If the Pistons win 1 game, I'll be shocked. We've won 5 straight against them already this year, going back to the regular season. I'm pretty confident we'll sweep. I guess it's possible they win 1 game. But with no Blake, and at best a hobbled Blake, they just have no way to score with Milwaukee. Don't be shocked if the Bucks win every single game by double digits this series. It's just a major talent discrepancy. So let's appreciate what you can only call as a really lucky draw. And kind of going back to what I hinted at already, everything is lining up for the Bucks right now to have a very easy path to, at minimum, the Eastern Conference Final, if not all the way to the finals. And as I said on Friday when my main man Brad was on here, a finals loss, it's a good season. This Warriors team is looking like they may likely disband after this year. Giannis is only 24. This is not like the Packers right now, where Aaron Rodgers is aging. In any opportunity that you don't seize, you have to look as it's the best way to phrase it, as a potential loss. If the Bucks can make it to the finals this year and win a game or 2 against the Warriors, but ultimately lose, you have to look at that as a win. The Warriors are just talented beyond talented. They got, the best shooter of all time. They got Kevin Durant, one of the top 5 players in the NBA. They got Klay Thompson, an ultimate role player, catch and shoot playing defense. So going back to the Eastern Conference, though, if you watched that Nets and 76ers game, Joel Embiid was like a game time decision. They didn't announce he was playing until about 7 minutes before our DFS lineups locked. Yes, I evaluate daily fantasy sports for a living, so I try to judge things based on that. But I watched that whole game. He's hurt, man. He is really, really hurt. And he is the difference maker for the Philadelphia 76ers. Whether they're able to come back in this series or not, that's going to ail them for the rest of the year. I really struggle to see Embiid getting healthy enough to also get in shape enough to give you. Like, Giannis could play 48 minutes if he wanted to, and he looked fine at the end of the game. Eric Bledsoe could play 48 minutes. You see, like, Jimmy Butler, he's capable of playing a lot of minutes, but when you're dominant person in Joel Embiid, I mean, the guy is really, really hurt, and he has a long history of injuries, so this should come as a real concern. He is their difference maker. To me, he's the only guy in the Eastern Conference that you can give a legitimate argument to being better than Giannis, and he just isn't himself right now, so that is really lucky from the Milwaukee Bucks perspective. We saw Toronto lose game 1. I still expect them to come back and win this series, but my business partner over for our DFS thing brought it up this morning, and he's not a Bucks guy. He's like, I just don't think the Raptors have enough offense to get by a team like Milwaukee. And that's kind of what I've been saying about them for a long time now. Kawhi Leonard is a really, really good NBA player, and he's an elite defensive player, but he is not an elite offensive player. He's a very good offensive player. He's very good in the mid-game. He can get off his own shot, but he's not like a great passer. He's not a great three-point shooter. He's not Kevin Durant. He's not even – who am I trying to give a good comparison to? He's not James Harden. He's not Kevin Durant. From an offensive perspective, he's not even – I don't think he's even a top 10 offensive player in the NBA. So with Kyle Lowry being awful in the playoffs, are they just going to lean on Marc Gasol and Pascal Siakam? I like both of those players. I think Siakam took a huge step this year, but still, I like the Bucks matched up with the Toronto Raptors in the conference finals. If that works out for us, we would have to be considered the favorites there, considering everybody is healthy, even without a Malcolm Brogdon, for example. The Celtics are also missing Marcus Smart, and this is who our likely opponent's going to be in round 2. Again, the national media has been all over the jock of the Celtics since game 1. But without Marcus Smart, he's their emotional leader. I get into the same issue that I have with the Raptors. I just don't think they have enough offense to compete with Milwaukee. Now, if this lines up, I expect the Celtics to take us to about 6 games. They got enough three-point shooting with Marcus Morris, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Kyrie Irving, Al Horford, that on the couple of games that they shoot the ball really well from the outside, I think it goes 6. But they're not a very good road team. They are still a good defensive team, but we can still get to them relatively easily, I guess is a nice way to put it. So everything is really lining up well for the Bucks so far. We get basically a bye in the first round. We get a Celtics team, which we're going to have home court advantage. A team that will struggle to hang with us offensively. They are a very good defensive team. But in the playoffs, the best player normally is the one who wins the series. They don't have anybody even in the same conversation as Giannis Antetokounmpo. Their best player is Kyrie Irving. And while he's a great isolation one-on-one player, I mean, it's not even close who's a better player overall. So I'm excited about where things are headed, guys. Doesn't mean we're going to cakewalk through this thing. Again, Celtics are not an easy team. While I think we should handle that series well, they are not a foregone conclusion like the Detroit Pistons. And whether we get Philly or Toronto in the conference finals, or hell, even a team like the Magic or the Pistons, things look good for us, but it's not a for sure type of thing yet. But you got to love where things are headed right now, guys. I'm excited. I'm excited to say the very least. Let's continue to get after this thing. Go Bucks. Brewers, continue to keep this thing rolling. We got a big series with St. Louis this weekend. Hopefully that goes well, and bring on Packer season. All right, guys, if you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up is appreciated. And if you got any good comments about the Bucks, I'd love to hear them. Thank you.